Drafted by the Edmonton Oilers in the first round of the 1979 entry draft, Kevin Lowe would go on to play 13 seasons with the Oilers, winning a remarkable 5 Stanley Cup championships. And after being traded to the New York Rangers in 1992, Lowe played 4 more seasons, adding a 6th Stanley Cup in 1994. Congratulations, Kevin. Kevin, I said all these nice things about you that you didn't hear, how you owned the Calgary Flames in every battle of Alberta, and only won 6 Stanley Cups, you selfish rascal, you. Any comments on your induction in the 2020 class of the Hockey Hall of Fame?
Yes, Lanny, I apologize. I got bumped off the phone, so I didn't hear your introduction, but I can just imagine. I'm blessed. First impressions, extremely grateful, humble, very, very excited. I grew up in the province of Quebec, in the shadows of the Montreal Canadiens, and I would see those parades of Stanley Cups, and so it was always my dream to win a Stanley Cup. Never dreamt of the Hall of Fame. I guess I should have expanded my dreams, but I feel blessed. I'm really excited. I want to congratulate the other inductees. Doug Wilson and I go way back, and of course Kenny Holland. Love having Kenny in Edmonton, and the other all the others as well. Jerome, watched his career, watched Kim win gold medals, and Marian Hossa is one heck of a player. So it's a real honor for me to go in with that group, and I want to thank the selection committee and you, Lanny, as chair of the group.
Thank you very much, and richly deserved, even though you were an Oiler all that time.
Hello, gentlemen. Mark Spector here from Sportsnet. Congratulations to all. I got a question for Lanny and for Kevin Lowe, if that's all right. Lanny, first, please. I'd like you to tell us what it was like to play against a defenseman like Kevin Lowe. And Kevin, your team in Edmonton had a lot of scorers. Gretzky and Curry and those guys did all the scoring. Paul Coffey rushed the puck. They had guys who fought more than you. Once all the responsibilities were doled out on those great Oilers teams, Kevin, what responsibilities did you claim? Lanny, if you could go first, please.
First of all, it was never fun to play against Kevin. Kevin was one of the most reliable defensemen you could possibly imagine. But more importantly, we all knew that he was the leader of the pack. And yes, they had Gretzky, they had Curry, they had Messier, they had Anderson, they had Grant Fuhr. But every time something happened, and we had all kinds of battles between Calgary and Edmonton, Kevin Lowe was in the thick of it. And normally he was the leader of the game, and they were like a wolf pack. And that wolf out front was doing a hell of a job of not only when something had to be said or something had to be done on the ice, you knew he was going to start it. And it's why Kevin in 19 years only missed the playoffs once and won 6 Stanley Cups. And what a hell of a day is to be able to call him, not only as a competitor, but as a friend, and welcome him to this new club called the Hockey Hall of Fame.
Thanks, Lanny. I'm not sure. Your question was I think I'll go this route, Mark, and say, the goal was always just about winning. And as the pieces fell into place, obviously, Gretz and Yari and Mess and Andy did the bulk of the scoring, but we as players all did our part to try to get to the win. So if the night wasn't going well for them and they weren't putting up the points, then someone like us needed to step up. I like to say, and with a little bit of humor, that where I fit in is when Paul Coffey came off the ice on the power play after a minute 50 seconds, I generally would do a great job with the last 10 seconds. But I, quickly realized that I had to find my place within that team. I had to, Koff was clearly going to be the offensive guy. I had offensive DNA when I came to pro, but realized that I wasn't going to put up the kind of points I did in junior. And all I wanted to do was find a place on the team and win. And I think we figured out the formula pretty well. Lastly, I guess the leadership side, and I always I attribute that to my father, who passed away many years ago. But the Lowe family comes from a great bunch of leaders and athletes, and men and women that just don't take no for an answer. So I like to think that I, relative to my best accomplishment or addition to the Oilers, was just to never accept losing.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Terry Jones, the Edmonton Sun and Journal. Kevin, can you go on about the extent of, were you getting close to giving up, having, come from a group like that, finding that extra spot in the Hall?
First of all, I've never seen myself as a Hall of Famer. For me, the Hall of Fame was Bobby Orr, Jean Beliveau, Gordie Howe, Wayne Gretzky, Mark Messier. And although I know there are players of my ilk in the Hall of Fame, and it's a place for everyone, I really didn't. I don't want to say I was disappointed in the years that I didn't get selected, but it came to the realization. I had certainly understood you have to put up more points, win awards, but in terms of, as I said earlier, my dream was always to win Stanley Cups, and the Hall of Fame was something I never dreamed about. And today, when I got a call from Lanny, I saw it was Lanny McDonald phoning me, I thought to myself, well, surely he's not phoning to tell me I didn't get in. So I don't know. It's all surreal for me. Many people have mentioned this on the call already. Hasn't quite sunk in. I was blessed to have played as long as I did. I was blessed to play with great players. Blessed to play in a great city that just embraced us, embraced the game. We're proud that we could do what we did as a team. I mean, they really were the seventh man, I think long before the seventh man became a thing. And, just to think that all this started about 40 odd years ago when I was the Oilers' first ever draft pick, and actually didn't know that the Oilers were in the NHL. So I can't even explain how shocked I am about this, and really just shocked about everything I've been able to achieve and experience in my life in hockey.
Hi, this is Kevin McGran, the Toronto Star. Congratulations all. This is for Doug and for Kevin, again, following up on the length of time it took. I appreciate your humility in accepting and your stories, but I wonder if you might have advice for other players in your similar position, players that fans at large might think deserve a Hall nod and have to wait another year. What would you say to some of those guys that you played with or against or even coached in some cases? What do you say to those guys that are out there waiting?
Maybe I'll jump in, Willie, since you just spoke, give you a chance to get a glass of water.
I always like following
I guess I'd say I think what I would say is to experience what we experienced today, getting that call from Lanny. I mean, you just can't describe it. You can't explain it. I've been accused of not being too emotional, other than when I lose a hockey game. Otherwise, I'm pretty emotionless. So I have to say again, was shocked by the call, but it really, for me, it meant so much getting it from Lanny, because we've known each other for years. He's such a class act, such a great ambassador for the game, and so to have that connection right away and get that call, and then in turn to phone my wife and my kids, and their emotion brought out the emotion in me. So I guess if I'd have any advice for anybody that's on the cusp of perhaps going in someday, to say, hey, just hang in there. It's all worth the wait.